Let's sing the hola song. Manos arriba. Uno, dos, tres. Hit it. Hola, hola, hola. ¿Cómo estás? Estoy muy bien. ¿Y tú qué tal? Yay! This week we'll be talking about culture. Culture. I think I've heard that word before, but what is culture? Culture is all of the things that make up the way a group of people live their daily lives. Here are some examples of what makes up a group's culture. The clothes that people wear are an important part of their culture. People around the world dress differently. What may look like a silly or different outfit to us is totally normal to them. Here are a few examples of some clothing styles from different parts of the world. Another important part of a group's culture are things like sports and games. Different people around the world play lots of different sports. Have you ever played cricket? It's a game that's similar to baseball, but isn't really played in the United States. It's very popular in countries like India and England. A big part of a group's culture is the music that they enjoy making and listening to, as well as dancing to. Have you ever heard of salsa? No, not the stuff that you dip your chips in. The type of music. It was born in Cuba, a Spanish-speaking country. It's a very important part of Cuban culture. Here's an example of some salsa music. Can you believe that in some cultures you're not expected to say please and thank you? Manners can be different from country to country. Holidays are one of the most important things that make up a group's culture. For example, do you celebrate Hanukkah? Hanukkah is a holiday only celebrated by people who belong to the Jewish culture. Schools around the world are very different as well. Not just the actual buildings, but the things that kids learn inside those buildings can be very different from one culture to another. Also, in some cultures, school is not seen as very important. It's more important to work and help the family. Religion is another very important part of a group's culture. Sometimes it even decides how people can dress and what they can eat. Speaking of eating, food is probably one of the biggest parts of a group's culture. Have you ever had Chinese food? Do you like spaghetti? How about tacos? Those are foods that all come from different cultures. The types of homes that people live in are also a part of their culture. In Africa, many members of tribes live in straw huts, and Eskimos live in igloos. Even the animals that families have as pets can be different from culture to culture. And one last thing, language, of course. Lots of people around the world speak different languages. This is an important part of their culture or their background. Does anyone in your family speak a different language? That shows where they came from and is an example of their culture. There are plenty of other things that make up a group's culture. This is just a quick example to give you a better idea. Now I'd like to read you a story that talks about kids from lots of different cultures. It's called The World's Family. Around the world, we say hi different ways. In Hawaii, aloha is what you might say. In China, Ming greets her friends with ni hao. In Italy, you might hear Marco say ciao. In France, friends welcome each other with kisses. In Zimbabwe, girls curtsy just like little misses. To greet in Japan, just bend in a bow. But when you're in England, a handshake is how. Some families celebrate Lunar New Year. Others will pray when Ramadan's near. Still yet there's Hanukkah, Festival of Lights, and families who gather on Christmas Eve night. In Kenya, Salama has a pet cow. In Canada, Angela's pet says meow. Pablo takes care of a lovely iguana, while Tabo tends to his goat in Botswana. Around the world, we're different, it's true, but there's so many ways I'm just like you. We smile, we laugh, we love who we are. We're nice to all people who live near or far. No two children are ever the same, but each child has their own face and name. Our cultures are different, but look and you'll see. Together, we make up the world's family.